What's up? What's up? What's up? Rewatching LSU's spring game for what is it? The second time here, third time. Interesting stuff here from the spring game. A lot to go through with the quarterbacks. We saw incredible production from the running back crew. Just under about 170, 180 total yards from our running backs. Trey Bradford, Josh Williams, and then John Emery, limited by injury, but no less still effective. Offensive line, so much to go into. First half, second half, a tale of two wildly different halves. Some intrigue at the quarterback position that is exactly as we predicted on our appearances with Mark Rogers and in most of our writings, that this is not just a Miles versus Jaden Daniels race, that this is a 3-quarterback race. This is something we have said the entire time. And I don't understand why people were counting out Nussmeier. Don't understand it. He was counted out big time in this quarterback battle, but he's more than proven that wrong. But I will wait for some more people to come in and join us for diving into the meat of what we are gonna do. I don't know about you, but if you are an LSU fan and you are not hyped up after watching that, you have no pulse. That was awesome. Okay. ESPN is there. You had these crazy, wild drone shots in and around Tiger Stadium, like it's a Michael Bay film. Just outrageous. You had Brian Kelly on his first ever Tiger walk. You saw the players opening the Brian Kelly era finally on the field in a more actual competitive situation, and competitive with quotations. But it felt like finally, here we go. We begin the era. And you got all these recruits there. Okay. You got some big time commits that LSU has been able to have who are also there. You have Tyrann Mathieu, Joe Burrow in the same place at the same time. And it's not on a field, playing in the NFL for the AFC Championship or for the right to go to the Super Bowl or for a big time regular season game. It's there as Tigers together, the first time ever. Burrow, Mathieu together at LSU. Incredible. When Joe Burrow, Thad Moss, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Derek Stingley Jr. Come walking out of the tunnel like they just got done hotboxing in the car, like it's just that walk, the crowd went crazy. They didn't have to say a word. They just could feel the presence. They could feel the attention change. That's what happens when Joe Burrow, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Justin Jefferson, Michael Divinity Jr., Derek Stingley Jr., when all these 2019 Tigers return to the mothership, the motherland. I think we feel a mothership coming. I think I see a mothership coming. Real Funkadelic fans will know what I'm talking about there. But you had all this pageantry, this background, this vibe, the inauguration of Kelly as the head coach, Joe Burrow, Tyrann Mathieu, all these high-octane recruits, future Tigers even like Harold Perkins, Emory Jones, Bo Bordelon, who are there, You have all this vibe. But what happened on the field matched that swagger, in my opinion. Um, it's not like LSU went out there and showed everybody that, like, look, we're going to be winning a national championship this next season. Damn you, and you better believe it. I don't think that's really what that was about today. What it seemed to me like this was about was just trying to get everything in order for the season, taking this part of the process itself. And for that, I think LSU did really well. They didn't try and do anything, show their cards too much. It was pretty vanilla. Like Brian Kelly said, we used, one coverage, two fronts, kept it very, very vanilla. So, opponents can't really pick us off on what we're really aiming for. But through that, you actually saw some very interesting things from this team because it was vanilla, because it was basic. You saw you saw how talented this team is purely, and what they can do against each other in pure competition, not really necessarily out scheming each other, but just pure competition. You know, you saw how much our offense is going to rely on the screen game. So much of our offense was predicated on the screen game, dump offs underneath, crossers over the middle, a few step drop, get rid of the ball. A few step drop, get rid of the ball. A few step drop, get rid of the ball. That's what LSU's offense should have been like the last few years. That's what made LSU's 2019 offense so dynamic. And it just proves that Coach Ed Orgeron really had no idea how that offense was that successful. Really didn't. Because if he did, he would have been going nuts at them for not running the same stuff. Either way, that aside, you saw this offense was basically predicated on moving the chains. And it wasn't like it was conservative. It was more just like get in a rhythm. We want to see our guys get in a rhythm, and maybe not so dink and dunk, but basically give our guys the ball as quickly as possible in space and let them go. You hear that so much as coach speak, at a press conference. Get our athletes the ball in space and let them, but you saw that today. How many times did you see, Armani Goodwin, Josh Williams, Trey Bradford getting a quick bulleted screen in the flat, and they were able to do a lot with it. We were doing jet sweeps with Jack Besh, which is fantastic. I know that sounds crazy. Last year, most people would have crucified people like me for saying that. But it's like when you actually look at what that means on the field with Jack Besh's underrated speed and yards after he receives the ball capability, he's basically a running back who plays receiver. Like just give him the damn ball, and that's what they showed today. I loved it. I loved what I saw from Mike Denbrock's offense, and it was very vanilla. This is like the most dry version of what he wants to do. And I think it's predicated on rhythm, moving the chains, and using the underneath game, the run game, to set up the home run hits. I think that's what it's about. It's about finding yourself continuously in 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, rather than 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9. Eating chunks of yards. You want to see strong decision makings. You want to see strong decision making from your quarterbacks where they're willing to take 3 yards of a scramble out of bounds rather than forcing the ball into coverage in between 3 guys for an interception, which is what you saw last year from a few of our quarterbacks, what you saw in 2020 from a few of our quarterbacks. It's I don't know. I'm just rewatching it, and I feel like Garrett Nussmeier won the day. Garrett Nussmeier, 9 of 16, 136, 1 touchdown, 0 picks, which is very key. Remember last spring game? Nussmeier threw like 3 interceptions, 4 interceptions. He was just out there just throwing it around everywhere. And he basically has this, just like Jaden Daniels will have this tag as a mobile running first quarterback, Nussmeier will have the tag as being kind of a gunslinger, a Brett Favre. I think he's a lot better than that type of profile. A lot far. I think he has a lot more tools in his arsenal. I don't think his game is so narrow. 9 of 16, 136, 1 touchdown. He also had this really nice pass, this bomb down the sideline to Jaray Jenkins, where the pass was perfect. Jaray Jenkins made a good attempt to catch it as he went to the ground, hurt his shoulder. He did not return and looked in some discomfort. Brian Thomas Jr., though, I think stepped right into that spot and took advantage. Brian Thomas Jr. with an unreal one-handed grab. Just a ridiculous one-handed grab. It was absolutely filthy. Just on Mekhi Garner, no less. Just puts one hand out while he's got a guy right on top of him. I think Mekhi Garner's hand even deflects the ball. It was crazy. That's exactly what you wanted to see out of Brian Thomas Jr. And that pass was actually thrown by Jaden Daniels, who, on the day, that was by far his best pass, of course. Jaden Daniels did not have a good game whatsoever. Well, I should say a good spring game. He kind of had a noodly arm. Every time they tried to go with the quick, rhythmic offense, he was throwing incompletions. Mystifyingly so. When the plays were extended, when he was able to choose his gaps and run with the football, that suited him well. He's very much a run-first quarterback. Make no mistake. He did show he can make some of these throws with that Brian Thomas Jr. pass down the sideline. It has a beautiful trajectory to it, that pass. Nice drop, brilliant command. Everything works well on that play. But you're going to hear that, Miles Brennan was quarterback 1. That will be the prevailing theme from many. They feel Miles Brennan showed the control, with that, especially that 14-play drive, beautifully executed drive. But did Miles Brennan show you any intangibles that said he's going to beat Alabama? Miles Brennan show you that he could beat Alabama today? Did he show you any intangibles that said, like, this is the guy who's going to win us games when it's tight? This is the guy who's going to absolutely kill it on 3rd down, 4th down in the red zone? I'm not really bowled over. Miles Brennan, once again, showed me just kind of half of this, half of that, and I just feel like Miles has so much potential. But, like, are we ever going to see it in an LSU uniform? 11 of 17, 99 yards, 1 touchdown. Brennan, he threw the ball well. He had some nice throws. But when it came down to it, he was sacked a bunch in the backfield. He didn't look like he was going to have any chance of escaping, like Nussmeier, like Daniels, like Walker Howard, of course. I'm so just I have so many question marks with Miles Brennan. Yes, he's the veteran. Yes, he has leadership. Yes, he has these intangibles that you really like to see. But at the same time, he's extremely one-dimensional as a quarterback. And when he's playing against a really good defensive line like we saw today from LSU, it was kind of chaotic at times. But like I said, it was a tale of two halves. You didn't really see a great or even a good half from the offense in the first half. You saw some plays here and there, saw some moments, but the second half is where things really took off. Josh Williams. Josh Williams, baby. Josh Williams went off today. Love what I saw from Josh Williams. He runs the ball violently, but then he also added this brilliant catch too. You know, he made like a 40-yard catch or something that took him to the 1 yard line. So he had 2 rushing touchdowns, 53 yards, 10 carries, and then he makes that 40-yard catch as well. You know, he was a former scholarship young man, and he deserved that scholarship. He finally earned it. Sorry, a former walk-on, and finally earned that scholarship, I guess, just because of how hard he works, how hard he runs. I knew he'd be a favorite of Brian Kelly because he's such a consistent rusher. You know, these running backs saw John Emery play limited moments, limited reps. I don't even know why John was in there. He was running up the gut, and it looked like this guy's getting hit. This guy's getting smashed. Why are we even running the ball with him? You know, why isn't he just watching? Because he goes right up the gut and, you know, takes a helmet to the ankles. You can see him wincing after it as well. I think he had 24 yards on the day. 24 yards on 4 rushes. You know, and Trey Bradford, he had this brilliant 36-yard gallop and then adds 86 rushing yards from 9 carries. So Trey Bradford, who just had this brilliant home run potential at Lancaster High there in Texas, he does the same thing again. Now finally at LSU, where he's just gone. He's got that breakaway speed. He always has. He's always had that breakaway speed, but he was never going to be successful in Jake Peetz's offense, especially after he came back, you know, from the transfer from Oklahoma with such a deep backfield at LSU. Ty Davis Price, Corey Kiner, Armani Goodwin. He was never going to reclaim his position. And so Trey Bradford hanging in there, being the forgotten running back of this Frank Wilson's room, and now he comes out and has the biggest day, the biggest game for a running back in the spring game. Wow. I mean, I haven't seen the full stats of the receivers, but I think Trey might actually be the leading gainer of the day. Armani Goodwin looked fantastic as well, 71 yards for him. Yeah, I think Bradford might be the leading gainer on the day. Malik Neighbors had that ridiculous touchdown catch off of Sage Ryan's tipped. He tips the pass, and Malik with the brilliant concentration to get the ball, and he actually gets 2 feet in bounds. Brilliant. Then you saw Brian Thomas Jr. with that ridiculous catch. Saw Chris Hilton Jr. Making some really nice plays underneath, some catches from it seemed almost every quarterback, connecting with Jaden Daniels, connecting with Nussmeier. But what I saw from the running backs really, really piqued my interest because we got Noah Kane coming in as well. We just lost Corey Kiner. And you've got these guys, Josh Williams, Trey Bradford, Josh Williams, Trey Bradford. Look at that. Look at that production. Look at how efficient that is. And I should also add in that Josh Williams thing, the 40-yard catch that took us to the goal line that should have been another touchdown for Jay Will. Huge day from Josh Williams. Equally huge day from Trey Bradford. Which one do you think ran the ball better? Which one do you think was the better running back today? Was it Bradford? Was it Williams? We've got options at running back. John Emery, he still looked damn good, even though he was banged up, and you could tell. But he was hitting the hole like crazy. But to me, the most impressive running back, the most impressive has to be who is it? Who is it? Armani Goodwin. 71 yards, 1 touchdown, 9 carries. To me, Armani Goodwin looked like a challenger for running back 1. I mean, he hits the hole so just violently, like he's just gonna punch you in the face, like just crazy. With complete abandon, but control at the same time. Love it. I love what I saw from Armani Goodwin, especially on that touchdown where he sells his body out, smashes the pylon, takes a hit. He's gone through some injury troubles in that freshman year, but go back and watch the tape. On the plays where he gets hurt, Armani is making an unbelievable run. Like a 15, 20-yard run, just smashing people, juking guys, getting away from pressure in the backfield. Don't forget, in 2021, these guys had a huge trial by fire. The second they had the ball, they had about 4 or 5 guys right at their heels. So they've been battle tested as well. They're gonna have a lot better possibilities this season because I'm about to bridge this whole thing into the O-line. The reason you saw such production from our running backs was because our offensive line were fantastic today. I'm just going to say it. They were pulling beautifully today. Just moving. It was sexy. It was sexy what we were seeing from our offensive line play. And how long has it been since we've said that? Even in 2019, there were moments where you just wanted to scream at the TV because Burrow was getting destroyed in the backfield and taking big hits. And it was just Clyde doing Clyde stuff and us getting rid of the ball very quickly. This offensive line feels they've got the names, they've got the depth. I mean, think about it. How good this offensive line played today, but then you also have Garrett Dellinger, who's out injured. You also have Marlon Martinez, who's out hurt. You also have Emory Jones, who's about to arrive. You also have Bo Bordelon, who's about to arrive. So there's four unbelievable offensive linemen who are still about to arrive. 4 more offensive linemen who can compete for positions here. And you'd got Will Campbell starting with the ones at left tackle, just as we had hoped, predicted, and he showed that he would. And in the last practices, he was starting with the ones. Even in the first 4 practices that LSU Odyssey we witnessed, he was with the twos, and then firmly throughout with the ones. And Kevin Howell, right what I'm talking about. Kevin, you read my mind. Kevin Howell says, "Did Campbell's show as brilliant in the game today?" I think so. You watch these reps where, see, right now I'm watching a rep where he's taking on BJ Ojolari, taking on Xavier Carter. He kind of backs off. He knows exactly what type of move this guy is coming with. And he basically, instead of engaging them physically, sometimes he just angles his body in a certain way and almost, uses the edge against these defenders. Buys his quarterback time by using the edge because they're not going to beat him to this side. He keeps going that way. Usually they'll come that way. They see what he's doing and they start working inside, and then he's got him right there. There's help right there as well. So he starts, he's using his body in this brilliant way. I'm not a former offensive lineman. I can't always tell you exactly what these guys are doing, but he's using his body in a way that almost suckers defensive ends into attacking him in a certain way, and then they're his. Tommy Poole says, "Glad to see you live." What's up, Tommy? How you doing, brother? Were you at the spring game today? I know my buddy Don Cannon was there, and Don had a lot of thoughts. Don, Don was showing and sharing a lot with me that I wasn't seeing, as a viewer here. I don't even want to get into how sad I am about not being there, because we have access if we can make it. And so we would have been able to be there to cover the spring game if we would have been able to make it. But I I cannot believe the atmosphere. I cannot believe the vibes. I cannot believe the swagger from this team. You know, this team, they still have a lot of humility, underdog humility too. But I think we saw some swagger from these guys because of that history with Joe Burrow, Tyrann Mathieu right there saying, "Hey, come on, let me show you the way." And you saw Nussmeier exuding swagger everywhere. Like, look at that pass to Malik Neighbors that I just watched right there. I mean, the way he lays that out there inside the red zone, right over the top of pretty strong coverage, just laying it out there. Oh, right over Sage Ryan and Jay Ward late coming over on safety help. That's more on the safety, but Sage got beat there. And that was the most impressive, was watching Nussmeier, the play action, bootleg out to the right after he makes this brilliant play down there. Doesn't rest on his laurels. Play action to Trey Bradford, who's wide open if Nuss wants to throw the reverse back screen to him. But no, he sees Jack Besh and he throws that over the top with touch, precision, and dare I say it, uh, blatant nudity. I mean, oh, that is offensive. I mean, that touchdown is just beautiful. And that's just outrageous. Tommy Poole says Will Campbell is a beast. Tommy Poole also says, "Yes, I was." So you were at the spring game. What did you see? DBs are still a big concern. So you saw that the DBs are a big concern. That's what I saw, because here's the thing. They're undermanned. A lot of guys are playing out of position, and it's okay. You know what? It's okay. They're going to get better. We were worried about the offensive line. They got better because they're practicing against the best defensive line in the SEC. Okay? They have to get better. They have to. These DBs will get better against these receivers, against these quarterbacks. Um, I think they have no choice. But it's just really about will we have the bodies? How many more injuries are going to affect our secondary? Are going to decimate DBU? There's been a lot of injuries, a lot of intrigue about potential transfers. I keep hearing certain guys' names, some of our stars from DBU, and I'm like, okay, the SEC to SEC transfer thing is done right now. They'll be penalized. They'll have to sit out the season. Unless you think some of these guys who are hell bent on playing in the SEC, especially playing at home, who have tons of friends here, are going to suddenly just leave to USC or something, or Nebraska. Talk to me later about that. Like, don't worry about transfers from DBU. I don't expect that. That would be really shocking to see more guys leaving, but you never know. There could be some guys deep on the depth chart who are worried about playing time who might leave. But I don't think, as far as our starters or even second or third guys, we should be too worried. I think we should be worried more about, like, someone like Philip Webb, who we didn't really see at all today. Where was Philip Webb? I'm looking for him everywhere. I'm looking for Philip Webb everywhere, and I don't think he was hurt. I don't think I ever saw an injury report from the last practice saying he was hurt. But I'm watching right now. You can definitely see Kieran Lacey is shook up. Tommy Poole says Mike Jones looked good. Mason Smith looked good. Well, yeah. Yeah, you could see Mike Jones Jr. really covering some good ground. I think you saw some soft stuff from Colby Fields in defense. I think he's got a lot to learn this season. And so I think Mike Jones Jr., Greg Penn have a big handle on those linebacker positions. Wow. I mean, that run is just beautiful. And we gotta get this, because that shows some brilliant pulling right there from the O line. This O line, we're moving just beautifully today. Okay, love what I saw from this O line. There he is. Damn. Tari Love comes in saying salute. What's up? What's up? What's up, Tari? How you doing? How you doing? What's up? What did you think you saw from the spring game? What did you think stuck out to you? Tommy Poole says he has no clue who quarterback one is. I don't think I'm like 100% on who quarterback one is. I don't think I have to be, or I don't think anybody has to be, including our coaches. But I think we need to be somewhat closer to that, and I don't think we are after today. And that's what Brian Kelly said as well. I think he said it's more difficult now to figure out who the hell quarterback one is than it was before the spring game. So it's kind of funny. It's it's a good problem to have, guys. Okay, it's a good problem to have. I know we all have favorites. But this is a good problem to have. Having four awesome quarterbacks. No one's even talking about Walker Howard, but Walker Howard, he deserves attention. He deserves plaudits. He's making good plays out there. I know he wasn't blessed with the best unit. That's what you need to remember when you watch these quarterbacks. Exactly what Brian Kelly also said. Keep in mind the execution. Keep in mind how well the players are running, how well the route was run. whether the guys dropped the pass, whether the protection made him have to quicken his progressions. There's so many things that go into it. Sorry, just one second. Just sending this message that has to be sent. I've got some news I'll be posting for subscribers on LSUODYSSEY.com tonight, possibly tomorrow morning as well. Um, some big developments um, regarding the roster and other things. Sorry. I You also found out that Jack Besh is an absolute warrior freak because Jack Besh shouldn't have. I predicted and thought just rest the guy. Just rest the guy. He should. Maybe he'll get a few plays, but just rest the guy. Well, Jack Besh goes in there and gets 2 touchdowns. Makes people look silly out there. Unbelievable. Kayshon Boutte, Kayshon Boutte is wide receiver 1. But if anything happens to Kayshon, he's not good to go. Jack Besh is wide receiver 1. I think he proved that again today. I think he just continues to prove that he's just an absolute freak. I love what I see from Jack Besh every time he steps on the field. And now, seeing that he's going to actually be played in his correct position, seeing that he's actually going to be getting the football more than just 2 or 3 damn times a game, or maybe even no times at all because of Jake Pete's horrible offense, you're going to see Jack Besh absolutely dominate and take over games, which is what he should have done last year, but wasn't allowed to, frankly, by our shitty offense. An offense that really was diabolical when it came to that. I mean, you'd have Kayshon in one corner. We'd be down on like the 10-yard line. Okay, we're in the red zone. You've got Kayshon, and then let's take off Jack, even though we just had 2 15-yard catches. Take him off. We'll just leave Kayshon in isolation, and then we'll have Cole Taylor at tight end. Where's the ball going to? Where do you think the ball's going to? We just take Jack Besh off the field. We don't need him on the field in the red zone. It's like, put him on the damn field. Even in the red zone, even if you're not throwing him the ball, you need him in the red zone to take that attention away from Kayshon. And then if you have Kayshon and Jack both in the red zone with Malik Neighbors, Jeray Jenkins, Chris Hilton, it's LSU's receiving core are going to be absolutely scary this year. And LSU needs a quarterback who can unlock that. Which quarterback can unlock these receiving core the best? Kyron Lacey looked fantastic to me. He got banged up at one point, Kyron, but I think Lacey always looked that close to making a huge play. I think he was overthrown on one play by Jaden Daniels, and then I think he barely dropped a pass in the end zone that he probably should have caught. But Kyron, he looked good as well, and he's looked really stellar throughout spring. So you got a loaded core of receivers. Brian Thomas Jr. also making that disgusting right-handed, one-handed catch. Kyle Skynes says, "What up, Lon? What's up, my man? How you doing?" Kyle Skynes, my brother. Brandon Reese says, "I heard the D-line had a good day." They did. I mean, here's the thing. These are touch sacks, but as far as touch sacks go, they were all over the place. But then if you look at it beyond that as well, they were all over the place. There's just there's such a depth of options inside and outside. So many guys. When you look at the fact that Quincy Wiggins, who can come in and be fantastic, and he recovered a fumble. when you have him basically fifth or sixth on the chart, a guy like Bryce Langston might even be on the outside looking in. That's an incredible place to be in. Makai Wingo coming in, getting deflections at the line. Mason Smith coming in, getting deflections at the line, destroying people. Um, Looking like he can rush the passer from the interior as well as the outside. It's just there's so many things you can do with this defensive line. Savion Jones looked good as well. BJ Ojolari didn't get the best of Will Campbell all the time, but he had his moments. Ollie Gay, you know he's going to come good. Um, but as far as today, the defensive line, they had it a little tough in the second half. Our rushing game really started to get going, and they really started to grind away at that defensive line. And I think the offensive line are going to feel really good about themselves after that way they finish this. I'm watching right now. Will Campbell handling Savion Jones right there. I mean, I really do question the usage of Tremont Shorts as the starting left guard. I think Xavier Scooter Hill might be a better option, but there's also Anthony Bradford. Well, I mean, Anthony Bradford, Garrett Dellinger, Marlon Martinez, Emory Jones, Bo Bordelon. That's five guys coming in who have just absolutely elite potential. I mean, Bradford has crazy measurables. Bradford's always, we've been waiting for him to have that breakout year. Marlon Martinez had that breakout year last year. Garrett Dellinger was an all SEC freshman and is going to be a Tiger that is going to be remembered for a long time, in my opinion. Marcus Doomerville, he looks solid. He looks like this is his time. Cam Wire came back. There's so much. Spencer Payne is even in there. Charles Turner looked really strong and steady at center today, and his blocking up front. I'm watching a rep right now. He's handling Guillory, who, I got to say, Jacobian Guillory has had a strong spring, but he didn't have the best of games today. Two offside penalties on him, and there's some moments where he really just wasn't. He really wasn't getting any penetration or getting anything done up front. Desmond Little had a few batted passes, a touch sack. Desmond Little actually was doing some great stuff. I think it's because that 3-4 outside linebacker / DE kind of hybrid scheme really works with him. There's Jay Ward making a great open field tackle on Armani Goodwin. Armani Goodwin is gone right here. Great pulling action there from, it looks like it was Will Campbell. Yep. Nope, that was Tremont Shorts. Sorry, they're both wearing those long white sleeves. Yeah, Shorts. Shorts coming on from left guard. Boom. Coming inside. Boom. That's what I love to see. That's what we should have done last year, and I kept writing about this last year a lot. If you get the offensive line in movement, if your offensive line sucks, start getting them in movement so that they aren't losing one-on-one blocks every rep. Because that's just what happens is you just start losing your blocks rep after rep after rep, and it deteriorates you physically, psychologically, emotionally, mentally. You can't continue from there. You are debilitated. You can't keep going. The offensive line is just as mental as it is physical. And it's just I love to see this offensive line in movement. And they're handling their one-on-one blocks a lot better than last year's O-line did. I'm telling you that much. This is just a spring game. I understand that. But those when you watch the defensive line, when you watch the O-line, when you watch the trenches this spring game, they're going more or less 100% here. It's very revealing. Obviously, they're taking that little bit off where they're not going to go, give everything to kill, absolutely go through and kill somebody or something. But it's still very, very fascinating what we're seeing from this offensive line. The D line is going to be talked about a lot, as they should. I wrote a very lengthy preview on that, just how damn good they are. Been covering the D line like crazy. We had Mekhi Wingo come on the show with a lengthy interview with him on his birthday where he was talking about the D line in depth. Definitely check that out if you want to deep dive into the D line from one of the Tigers themselves. He delivered the deets out. I'm going to tell you that. But when you look at the offensive line and how they've sharpened themselves in reaction to that defensive line, I really feel like the offensive line for me were more noteworthy from this game. Their improvement collectively, individually. How deep this offensive line is. There's the play. See, that's the thing. Miles Brennan's going to get credit for that touchdown, but that's a bad pass. Sage Ryan almost one-handed intercepts that. Oh, Sage should have picked that off. You know what I like to see today? The linebackers, okay? The linebackers. Greg Penn was like shot out of a damn cannon. Greg Penn was shot out of a damn cannon today. He's flying around today. Absolutely just destroying people, ripping guys around and throwing them in the backfield. When our defense were dominating the first half, Greg Penn was making some beautiful plays. When we went to the passing game, he was less effective because he was less involved. But as far as the running game, as far as reacting to the short passing game, he was everywhere today. I want to see how many tackles he had because I'm very interested in that. Mike Jones Jr. sideline to sideline was exquisite today. Exquisite. You're definitely going to see Greg Penn III and Mike Jones Jr. start for this defense. Tommy Poole says, do you think Coach Davis is happy with today's production? I think so. I think he'll take it because it's about how you react. It's about how you respond. And this offensive line were having their asses kicked in the first half. I mean, even you've had walk-ons like Hegemon making plays on the outside and stuff like that. They were being outplayed in every phase of offense. And Brian Kelly even said that they weren't thinking the right way before the game, and so that they weren't playing the right way in the first half. That changed after the second half, which highlights what a damn good coach we have on our hands in Brian Kelly to wake his offense up that quick, to make adjustments. That's what wins championships. That's how you win games. It's brilliant. But these linebackers, I love what I saw from Colby Fields. Probably wasn't that intense as he should have been, but he missed some tackles. Just going to put it like that mildly. He played soft at times. I'm just going to say that like it is. Played soft at times. But I think he'll get it together. Tommy Poole says Cole Taylor is huge. And Cole Taylor actually made some good catches today, Tommy. Cole Taylor looked, I guess you could say TE1 right now. He was good. He was good. I liked what I saw. You can't help but like what you saw from Cole Taylor. He's making some good catches, showing that he has lost a little bit of weight, enough to help him move a bit better. And he made some good plays. still, are we going to call it, say that we don't need another tight end? We're good. Jack Mashburn was out with a little back problem. I think we need another tight end for sure. I mean, it's no question. But, today Cole Taylor had a good opportunity and he took it. Kyle Skine says, can we talk about all the recruits out at the game and the effect the alumni meeting with them could impact their decision? That's a great thing to bring up, because this is as effective a recruiting staff as I've seen in a long time. I mean, damn. Tyrann Mathieu, Joe Burrow, Derek Stingley Jr. You got Joe Burrow taking photos with 5-star quarterback Dante Moore. You got Tyrann Mathieu hanging out with all these DBU luminaries who just joined the team. You got Michael Doherty traveling with his mom. You got Ryan Yates there from Denton Guyer, Texas. Brilliant, freakish player who's standing on the sideline hanging out with Tyrann Mathieu. It's fantastic recruiting right there. Fantastic recruiting. And, Dante Moore, I think he's just another strong 2023 quarterback. It's such a deep class, 2023, when you look at the quarterback room. For LSU potentially, having Nussmeier and Walker Howard battling for that number 1 position next year could be nuts. Potentially Jaden Daniels could be there as well. So that's 3 quarterbacks right there. But then if you add Dante Moore to that, you've got a very elite quarterback room once again. It's damn good. It's damn good to see this. This is how you recruit. You stack talent. You stack talent after talent after talent after talent after talent. And you really question, are you afraid to compete? Do you want to come here to LSU to compete? The best are always going to. We might lose some guys to Alabama who just want to start or whatever, Texas A&M who want a quick payday or whatever, but guys who really want to compete, who are in it for the long haul, for championships, for purple and gold glory, they'll always come to LSU. Tommy Poole says, heck yeah, Kyle, the OGs were in full effect. Yes. When they came out swaggering with those sunglasses on, I mean, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You cannot tell me that you weren't like, I had to go change my pants. Okay? I'm just going to let it be known. I had to change my pants. 2019 coming out in force with Tyrann Mathieu in the house. Oh my God. Oh my God. Joe Burrow back at Death Valley. All these guys back at Death Valley for the first time. Just crazy. Caleb says, I wasn't able to watch. How's the quarterbacks look? How'd the quarterbacks look? Well, I don't know if you saw the first part of our show, Caleb, but we went through that. I don't know. I don't really want to cheat everybody by saying it all again, kind of like going through the same stuff again. But, actually, no, sorry, Caleb. I can actually add more to it and kind of encourage you to go back and check out what we first said. But also, this is what I'm going to add to what I said. Nussmeier, 9 of 16, 136, 1 touchdown, 0 picks. I love how he took care of the ball. I love how he moved in the pocket. I loved how he was moving the chains and getting in a rhythm. But I also love how he used his legs to set up the pass. It wasn't just, I'm going to play extend to play extend. He used his legs to set up the pass. Brilliant. Look at his bootleg touchdown to Jack Besh. Look at the way he's going, rolling out, and throwing on the run to Malik Neighbors. Brilliant touch. Brilliant touch. Right over the top. Nussmeier goes to the sideline and is high-fiving everybody as he goes by and, yeah, look, yeah, what's going on, man? Yeah, let's go. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Walking up to offensive linemen and just being like, yeah, let's go. Let's go, baby. Like, it was just like, oh my God, I love this guy. Like, I think I found such a renewed appreciation for Garrett Nussmeier. I've always admired him. I've always admired how he his confidence, how he's such a humble teammate. He's always going and helping his fellow teammates, always cheering everybody on. You know, during his interview with ESPN, he's, oh, go Kyron, go Kyron. You know, watching the play as it goes. You know, I love that. I love seeing that. I love seeing that he just loves the game. He loves being there. He loves being around everything. He's infectious, and I think he's the gamble if you want to have a gamble at quarterback. But he just might be the gamble that could really jettison LSU to some serious contention in year one under Brian Kelly. I'm telling you, he might be the quarterback that unlocks, unleashes this receiving core the best. I think after watching this game, I think after watching spring practice, I think after seeing spring practices myself with my own two eyes, up close and personal, seeing every one of these quarterbacks throw rep after rep after rep after rep, whether in person or studying the film constantly, even the film that I shot myself, just constantly pulling in all this information, topped off with the spring game. You cannot think anything other than that Garrett Nussmeier has to be the best of both worlds here. You know, you're obsessing over Miles Brennan and Jaden Daniels, but will we go with Miles and his passing arm, or will we go with Jaden Daniels and his running ability? Which one should we do? Well, let me tell you something. Jaden Daniels' rushing ability didn't look too good because he bails on plays too quickly, which takes away huge gains down the field and actually opens him up to a variety of injuries. And then his passing arm didn't look that well, you know, didn't look that good or that consistent whatsoever at all. And then Miles Brennan's passing arm, which he's very one-dimensional quarterback, he has a cannon for an arm. But there's frankly plays where he just puts his receiver in a horrible position with contended passes. His accuracy lets him down, and he's still very suspect on critical downs, which is his Achilles heel and always has been, just as much as his inability to escape a collapsing pocket or to sense where pressure is coming from. You know, what's the best of both worlds? Why sacrifice anything? Garrett Nussmeier. You know, that's my argument. That's my argument after what I saw today. I'm not saying that you start Garrett Nussmeier versus Florida State. But what I'm saying is after today, if tomorrow we were playing Florida State, I'm starting Garrett Nussmeier at quarterback. And I don't care what anyone says. Just my opinion. But Caleb, Jaden Daniels, you know, okay. Miles Brennan, okay, he had that really strong drive, but once again, I just don't like how I don't like his rhythm. I don't it just feels so disjointed, feels so atonal. Feels like we're listening to King Crimson instead of like Tame Impala or LCD Sound System, which are bands that have a lot of grooves. And I think that's what Kelly wants to run is a groovy offense that is a groovy, you know, bounces to the rhythm of a beat offense, moves the chains, and then sets up the home run hits. Miles Brennan felt way too disjointed. Jaden Daniels felt way too disjointed. Garrett Nussmeier had that rhythm. Kyle Skynes, Kyle Skies. Tommy Poole says, Coach Kelly said they only ran one coverage of defense the whole time. Yep. And only two fronts. Brandon Reese, if we somehow got Dante Moore, someone will leave. Who knows? I think someone might leave if I think it would be a very smart bet to predict that one of these four quarterbacks will leave before the Florida State game, but I think the only real two picks you can suggest there would be Garrett Nussmeier or Miles Brennan to be the two quarterbacks to leave. Miles Brennan would probably transfer to Nebraska. He's got those ties and the connections there. They recruited him heavily. That, I guess, would be his escape route, because you can't transfer SEC to SEC because that deadline is already passed. Kenneth Martin asks, how did the new DBs do in your opinion? Mekhi Gardner was someone I was looking a lot for. I was looking a lot at him and what he was going to be able to do and how good he's been throughout spring, how much I feel like he is a strong asset for this DB room because of his veteran leadership. He's a Louisiana native. But then, he got beat on a play. He got beat on that pass over the top where Brian Thomas Jr. makes that one-handed catch. But then at the same time, he made some great tackles on the edge. He showed some nice poise hanging in there with some routes that did not favor his coverage, and he still would make a play. Joe Fouché, he was flying all over the place. He missed a few tackles, but he shows he has a lot of speed for the game. He has a lot of speed for the game, and he can make up a lot of ground too. Greg Brooks Jr., you didn't really see him involved in too much. He was out there. I'm even seeing him right now in a play, but he seemed to only be used mostly in the first half. I might be wrong on that, but to my eyes, I don't really remember him much in the second half. The DBs are not that good. That's just the point. The DBs are just not that good right now. They're getting taken advantage of like crazy, and there's some plays where our receivers even dropped the ball and stuff like that, or didn't take as much advantage as they could. But outside of Jay Ward, Mekhi Garner, who was playing with the Louisiana Raging Cajuns and is also new to the SEC too. Sage Ryan, and he's only had a few starts as well. There's really a lot of unproven guys on this team. Joe Fouché, Greg Brooks Jr., Jay Ward are like really the only like three guys who've really played a ton of reps at DB in their careers. Jordan Tolles, another guy. This is like Jordan Tolles' third season at LSU, and he's really barely played. Lots of questions at DB. Lots of questions at DB. There's a lot of chances for these guys to show up and really turn things around, turn that narrative around. Because our receivers are gonna make them get better. I really believe that. They're gonna get our DBs better. And not only that, they're gonna get some bodies back, There's some guys who are hurt right now. Jarek Bernard Converse is out. I think once you get his leadership back, that becomes a better unit. Major Burns at safety. I think he had 2 interceptions last year in like only a few games. Had some really good plays. He got burned in the first few games badly. I will admit to that. He got burned in the UCLA game badly, but only 1 interception. But still, 1 interception in 5 games, 25 tackles, 1 pass broken up. Major Burns, I think he'll be another asset to the safety room of the DB core. But, the DBs is going to be the question with this team, with this defense. The front, the defensive line, the linebackers, they'll be taken care of and they'll be fine, I believe. They're going to be the strength of this defense, hold this defense together. But at the back end, there are some question marks. I just keep seeing plays where Mekhi Garner is just shutting shit down. That looks like his third pass broken up just in this last little bit that I've been watching, and they're all on critical downs. They all cause the ball to be turned over. There's one on Miles Brennan where the pass is late. Miles Brennan and Jaden Daniels just were not getting into a short passing rhythm like Garrett Nussmeier was. It looked effortless for Nussmeier, and it looked like a struggle for those two. I know they're going to talk about Miles Brennan being in control and how has so much experience and all this stuff. I just feel like those are just kind of coach speak words and platitudes right now that don't really mean anything to what's actually being played on the field. What's actually taking place on the field doesn't look that encouraging for Miles Brennan supporters. I got to be honest with my feelings on it is that I don't feel like Miles Brennan is quarterback one if we played a game tomorrow. That would be Garrett Nussmeier. And these DBs, maybe they could be testing our quarterbacks a lot more. I wanted to see an interception today, but we didn't see it. We only saw one total turnover. That forced fumble, which was from a bad Fitzgerald West snap and a fumble recovery by Quincy Wiggins. Tommy Poole says, I was watching the players, not the coaches. Did you see any of the coaches looking frustrated? No, they were kind of letting loose. They're kind of chill most of the time. They kind of understood what was going on. There's a few moments. There's a few situations. Cortez Hankton, Noah Nash, a walk-on number 84 receiver, caught 2 passes in a row. Looked really good. Comes to the sideline. And Cortez Hankton kind of just says something to him and then goes kind of annoyed or pissed. But I think it was just him wanting to kind of Noah, remember this moment because you just made some great plays. Remember this little detail that I want you to work on or focus on. Encouraging from number 84, Noah Nash, to step up like that. I like seeing LSU walk-ons fighting for that scholarship, every rep, fighting for it. Noah Nash, man, we salute you, number 84. Hell yeah. I love seeing it. There's another catch for Jack Besh. Yeah, Mashburn was limited at tight end, but Jack Besh, even though he had a back problem as well, and he said he's feeling good after the spring game. He said he's feeling fine. Wow. Even though Besh had a back problem and he said he was doing fine, they played him a lot. Bryce Langston and Micah Baskerville, Jacobian Guillory. Are those a few guys who could transfer from LSU's defense? Philip Webb. Think about that. There's going to be guys who are going to transfer from this defense. There's going to be guys who transfer from this team. Would one of them be Jacobian Guillory? One of them be Bryce Langston? I love seeing the energy from Jacobian Guillory after he makes a stuff right there and goes crazy. I love it. I love the energy. Sorry, my hands are killing me. I write way too much articles. I'm always typing way too much and writing on my phone, sending messages to people. My hands are killing me. Kenneth Martin says, I didn't watch the game, my friend did, and he said we need a center. Your friend didn't really watch then because Charles Turner looked damn good. Maybe he watched the 5 seconds where Fitz West, a freshman center, made one bad snap, which, yeah, went over the head of Miles Brennan, but he's a freshman. It's his first spring game. He should make a bad snap at least once. But Charles Turner. Yep, there's the play. Right as I'm talking about, there's the play again. But Charles Turner is center one and firmly. And he looked good. So I don't really know what your guy's talking about saying we need a center. We need a backup center, maybe. We need depth at center. You could say that. But I think we have that with Charles Turner, number 69. I encourage you to watch the spring game and make up your own mind on these things, because sometimes people have opinions and sometimes they're not even watching the game like you think they are. So it sounds like your friend probably watched 10 seconds more of the spring game than you did. But yeah, Charles Turner looked good to me. Charles Turner looked fine. He missed some blocks in the first half, but when you look at his overall performance, especially in the second half, just commanding. I need to get some water. 1 second. There's going to be a few breaking news items coming from LSU Odyssey. I want you to keep an eye out for that. When you look at the details here of the spring game, there's always going to be things that are going to stick out. There's always going to be little details that, if you're actually looking for it, really are going to enlighten you. My pillow's falling on me. Really going to enlighten you to how a player reacts to certain situations, how a player is in mental jujitsu. You know, how is he in the middle of a mental battle at the line of scrimmage? Can he physically impose his will? There's one rep where I saw Ali Gay actually beat Will Campbell there. Let's see that again. Okay, yeah, you see at 12:04 in the second quarter, you see Will Campbell get beaten by Ali Gay, but I tell you what, that came very few and far between. And you know what? Miles Brennan was able to still make a really, or sorry, not Miles Brennan, Jaden Daniels was able to make a nice throw down the field to Brian Thomas Jr. for that one-handed catch. So Will still did his job. Yeah, that pass looks like it hits off Mekhi Garner's hand. Oh, damn, it looks like it does. Brandon Reese says, I heard Will Campbell played pretty good. Yeah, yeah. Freshman starting at left tackle is a joke right there. That's crazy right there. But a freshman starting at left tackle and really, really playing well. I mean, look at that. How he sells that fake. He made that look like an inside run so beautifully, while Jaden Daniels sneaks to the left and sneaks it in right in the red zone. Look at that. Will Campbell goes driving inside from the left, he sells that. It's all about how the left tackle sells it. He goes flying in there like there's no way he's going to be blocking anybody going out to that left edge. He's flying in there, and then Jaden Daniels just walks past him into the end zone. Just a smart, smart player. Tommy Poole says, "I like how feisty you are live. Keep it up, brother." Dude, that's how I write, man. That's if you can't sense that from the writing, I maybe need to up my game in my writing department because you need to feel that as well. You need to feel the fire as well. There's the moment where Joe, Clyde, Thad, D Sting all get back from the car after the hot box. I love it. I love it. I'm kidding about that, by the way. Don't be spreading that around. And here's the thing about Tiger droppings lately. Some people have sent me some bullshit from that site that is just crazy, some outright lies, saying that I'm smoking cigarettes on the Death Valley field and all this shit. Like, no. Every picture I have ever taken doesn't take place on the Death Valley field. Let's just remember that, okay? Every picture doesn't. I mean, I wish I lived at Death Valley. I wish, but not every photo takes place there. Just be aware of that. Scurrilous lies about me hating Cortez Hankton and all this insanity when, like, anyone who's read my stuff knows I actually broke the Cortez Hankton story and have nothing but love for the New Orleans brother. But enough about Tiger droppings. Jordan Tolles, where was he today? We saw him at corner a few times, but I didn't see much from him. You know, uh, you got to keep rewatching this game to if you really care about these questions. You got to keep rewatching the game itself. Look for all the info you can find, and it's all found at LSUODYSSEY.com. I'm telling you, if you saw our spring game coverage from last year, how in depth and ridiculous that is, we're going to do that times 1,000 for this season's spring game. If you thought last year's spring game preview was thorough, just get ready. Okay? Just get ready because it's about to be. Sorry, I'm distracted by seeing this comment from Kyle Skynes. Lon, I seen that nonsense on Tiger droppings. Bro, don't worry about those morons. Oh, I don't. I don't. It's just people send me these screenshots of you know, here's what someone said about you with this, or here's a thing of your photos, or here's a thing of this. It's interesting that uh, my articles, my best articles, never make Tiger droppings, never get the attention there. It's only when they want to like catch me in a scandal or in a moment of a mistake or something like that. It's like it's a shame. It's a shame that Tiger droppings is so anti what we're trying to do, but that's okay. It's okay. It doesn't hurt my feelings. It just it's just kind of funny, really, more than anything. It doesn't matter. We don't need their approval, and frankly, we don't need anyone's. We're going to do this whether one person is watching, whether 20, whether 50, whether 5,000, whether 50,000. And if you look at the beginning of the stream, there's only one person watching, and we're hitting it hard. But I definitely want as many people to be joining us as possible because that's the point of this. I want your opinions. I mean, I can't see everything. You can't see everything. So when we come together right now, we can get all the facts about LSU. See, that's the thing. I am not afraid to sing random Beatles lyrics. I'm not afraid to stutter because I have a stuttering problem. I'm not afraid to be me. And I think that is a very scary prospect for people in the media world or surrounding LSU. And I'm not afraid of any of that. It's all fun for me, and I love doing this. And I will do it as long as The people want me. As long as LSU values what I do and I'm not, they don't feel like I'm hurting LSU. They want me to continue. I'm going to keep doing this. But it's funny how many people have tried to create that narrative of he's a bad man. He's a bad dude. It's kind of funny. But yeah, don't even anyone who knows my site, knows the work, knows what we're doing, knows what we're about. And that's all I have to say. Anyone who plays for LSU, they know what I'm about. Anyone who coaches for LSU, they know what I'm about. So if the team, coaching staff, the people around the team, their families know what I'm about, does it really matter to me if the fans or some random dumbass on Tiger droppings doesn't know what I'm about? No, it really doesn't bother me. It's kind of funny. And that's why I went to Louisiana. And that's why I'm going to continue to go to Louisiana. And that's why I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing because I love LSU just as much as you do. And this team is so interesting. And if there's anything that this spring game showed us, if there's any overarching theme from this spring game, it's that this team is so interesting. There's so much movement that can happen with this team. There's so many guys that can drop from starter to third on the roster. There's so many guys that can jump from third on the roster to starter. There's so much movement that can be possible here. Don't just think that the ones right now are going to be the ones September 4th against Florida State. That's not how these things work. Kyle Skines. Well, Kyle, I mean, there's as much as Billy Embody has been fair to me at times. There's some stuff I know about Billy that is a little toxic as well too. I don't think he quite likes me as well either, but that doesn't really matter. He doesn't have to. But yeah, nobody is perfect. What's up, baby? Bryce Langston, he's someone that I'm wondering about transferring from this team, you know, and we saw him involved a lot today. Do you guys think Bryce Langston is going to transfer from this team? I just get a feeling that like he doesn't. Derek Davis Jr. as well. These are guys that should be up there on the depth chart, should be noticed by the fans, noticed by the team. And I feel like Derek Davis Jr., Bryce Langston are barely even on the map, barely even thought about. It's weird. Oh, fuck. Shit. Okay, I dropped a plate the other night and I was cleaning up the glass from the plate and I thought I cleaned it up very thoroughly, okay? Well, Chelsea just showed me a piece of glass that flew into her shoe right by where the plate fell. She almost stepped on into her shoe, but she didn't. She was showing the glass, like laughing at me. So, yeah. I need to get better at cleaning. Oh, God. Drop that plate. That thing just shattered. That thing shattered like Jake Peets' offensive coordinating career. Yeah, I don't know. Just Nussmeier walking around looking so poised and so like he's ready for this job. I don't think, Miles Brennan walks around confident. He has that poise, but he's basically had the job for like 3 years, but never really ever had it. I just love what I see from Nuss. I just don't know how you could go away from this game. I know it's just a spring game. John Tree Kirkland had a 200-yard receiving game last year. Who knew he would be ending up throwing 3 touchdowns at quarterback? Okay? I understand that spring games really don't mean a damn thing usually, but they do in other reasons, in other ways, in a process oriented way, in a where LSU at kind of way, in an interventionary way. Like where are we at on this scale of the process? LSU are not ready to compete right now in a college football season. We aren't deep enough. I feel like Jake Flint has given us a big head start to be strong enough, to be physical enough, but we're going to have to keep that going. This is a process. LSU aren't just guaranteed to win 10 plus games this season just because we have Brian Kelly and because we got 15 different transfers or whatever it is. 15, I think it is. Yeah. This team has so much to work on, so much growth to have, and that's going to take place over the next few months, even when they're on break. Who's going to be working the hardest in during those moments by themselves? Who's going to be pushing the most for their own improvement? Those are the guys that are going to take the positions here. There's going to be there's going to be some transfers who are going to leave. There's going to be some guys who are going to leave this team in the next few weeks. Probably in the next couple week, probably the next few days in the next week right here. Get ready for it. It might be one or two of your favorite players, but I'm telling you right now, LSU football is moving in the right direction. And I know you can feel that. You know LSU aren't going to win a championship next year, most likely. If LSU won a championship next year, it would be a miracle. You know why? It's because we had 39 scholarship players at the beginning of this season. 39. Unprecedented number. Unprecedented. We probably have like 64, 65, 68 total players right now out of the possible 85. That's crazy for an SEC Power 5 program, a championship contender to be at that number. But if Kelly gets us anywhere near championship contention in year 1, oh my god. It just shows what he's going to be able to do with this team, with this program, with this talent that he's surrounded by. I think Kelly's going to be able to do a lot. Maybe year 1 we're kind of hampered by the realities of what this team has gone through and what this program has had to go through with, the cost of what happened with Coach Ed Orgeron. Maybe it takes 2 years, maybe it takes 3 for us to make a college football playoff. But I feel like Kelly is steering us in the perfect direction. Kyle Skynes, I got a question. What's an itinerary for a high profile recruit on an official visit during a spring game? I heard BK is having a crawfish boil at his newly purchased mansion tonight for recruits. Yes, and it's also for families of players too. They're going to be there, and yeah, it's going to be a good time. I am absolutely dying that I'm not in Baton Rouge right now. Went last month, and I feel like just damn, I picked the wrong month. I had to get I had PTO I had to use before our companies switched, and so I had to kind of use it up right then. Basically, have a free paid vacation as far as losing wages at work, and so I had to take advantage of that, and so I had to go in March, and then there's been so much up in the air with our companies switching contracts, And so it's been kind of tough to just say, "Hey, I'm going to go to Louisiana for a week. See y'all." It's kind of impossible to do that right now. And so, yeah, it's really sucked because I know if I can get there, I have the access. I know if I can get there, I can really bring all of you some crazy content, some interviews, coverage like you've never seen before. I mean, I feel like LSU fans are being shortchanged. You know why? Because most of the people you guys listen and talk to and watch or read are there in Louisiana every day. They live there. And I feel like if I feel like if I lived there, I would be getting 100 times more things done than what they're doing. I feel like I would be giving you guys the greatest content possible. I feel like LSU fans aren't getting that from Louisiana's insiders and homegrown LSU media guys, and that's why I started doing this in the first place, to give LSU fans the best in one place. You hate when there's a bunch of brands of something that are great at doing one thing, but are shitty at the other. And so many of these things can't complete the picture. That's what we try and do, is complete the picture and try and bring it all into one. It's not perfect right now. You can easily compare LSUOdyssey.com to this Brian Kelly LSU team. Not the finished article, far from it, but heading in the right direction for sure. Um, at the end of the day, LSUOdyssey.com isn't really my final goal. I'm not a brand dude. It's more about using it as a platform to show what I can do. Tommy Poole says, I think Brennan is done. What do you mean? Like done? Like he's leaving LSU? I was saying a bit ago, if there's anybody who's going to transfer, I think it's Miles Brennan or Garrett Nussmeier. Those are your only two options. Anyone suggesting Walker Howard's transferring, that's absolutely foolish. Anyone suggesting that Jaden Daniels would transfer, he would have a penalty where he would have to sit out an entire season for doing so. So why the hell would he do that? Um, so yeah, it's either Brennan or Nussmeier, and most likely one will. You would have to think one would. I think Brennan came back here to try and see if he could win this job, and if he can't, he knows he can win the job at Nebraska. Tommy Poole clarifies, saying transfer out, gone, Nebraska bound. Took the words right out of my mouth, brother. Yeah, I think he knows he can win that job. But I think with what Garrett Nussmeier showed today, I think all of the talk of Miles being quarterback one is probably LSU loyalists within the media trying to just keep Miles from transferring. But I got to tell you, as much as we want to root for Miles and we want Miles to be successful, start him against Alabama's front with Will Anderson next season and just see what's going to happen. I'm telling you, it's not going to be good. Nussmeier's probably full of mistakes, probably full of interceptions, but he's not scared. He's not afraid of the moment. He's not afraid. He's dare to dream. That's something I've always heard. Dare to dream. Nussmeier dares to dream on every play. And you saw that today. He knew he had to make a statement if he wanted to have any chance at being an LSU quarterback. He's a Louisiana native. This is his only chance to be a Louisiana quarterback at LSU, and he made the most of this moment. A very highly pressurized moment for him, you got to feel. You could see how much it meant to him when he's going on the sideline and high fiving people and yeah, and going nuts like I demonstrated earlier. There's that catch from Josh Williams right there. Sorry, my lip is itching. Well, guys, gals, everybody, I'm gonna finish my write up on my spring game thoughts as well. This is just part one of our spring game coverage. Almost 2 hours here of content involving stats, thoughts, analysis from both of us, you, me, all of us together. Um, you have to love what you saw from the offensive line. You have to love what you saw from the defensive line. You have to love that LSU have 3 to 4 great quarterbacks. You have to really like what you're seeing at the receiver. You have to love what you're seeing from receiver because we're just stacked. And Dre Jenkins going out with an injury, you don't want to see that. You don't want to see that at all. John Emery Jr. His father told me that he's looking okay and he's all right, even though it looked like he took a few hits in the game. There's some questions for LSU, big time questions for this team. But I think as far as spring game and where we're at right now, and considering where we were only a few short months ago, you've got to love what you saw from LSU today. You got to love what you saw from LSU. Josh Williams, Trey Bradford, Armani Goodwin, all rushing for over 50 yards. 2 out of 3 scoring a touchdown. LSU can run the football again. I mean, when's the last time you saw LSU being able to run the football like that with such confidence and violence? This is a spring game. We were able to do that against Florida with Ty Davis Price. We were able to do that against Alabama with Ty Davis Price. Able to do that against Vanderbilt with John Emery Jr. and Ty Davis Price in 2020. Ty Davis Price against South Carolina. Ty Davis Price against Arkansas the last 2 years. You know, some of these games, but still, that aggressively with 3, 4 different running backs. Boom, boom, boom. Corin Norman even had a touchdown. Number 23, Corin Norman, walk-on running back, had a touchdown himself. The running backs are so heavily involved in this offense, and what Frank Wilson has done with these running backs. I get why Corey Kiner left now that I see all of this talent here. I get why he left. He had the chance to start immediately at Cincy. He wasn't going to get that chance at LSU with this type of running back room, damn it. There's no way. Sad to see him go, but I get it now that I see the full breadth of LSU's running back talent, which is something we already could sense through spring, was how much better these running backs were playing, running the football. Trey Bradford has come into this. You know, Trey Bradford has embraced Kelly coming in, almost like, okay, I'm going to wipe the slate clean and now I'm going to restart and do this for real. LSU did the meat and potatoes very well today, although there's questions, heavy questions at DB as far as coverage, as far as tackling, but we're going to figure those out in the next few months. And everybody, follow us at Twitter at Lon Phillips. That's where we post so much of our stuff first. It's always on the site first, LSUODYSSEY.com. But if it's not on the site first, it's going to be on our Twitter first. Follow us there and check out this site. We're going to be unveiling a lot of content over the next few days and a lot of news. We just got some on our phone right when we started this. Buckle up.